should not have access to it in their AI use. So give me some good advice on putting guardrails around AI data.
I think about it more like the kind of data that goes in. So I'm going to say good advice is remove PII from your AI data.
I like it. All right. I'm going to ask you the same question, Abby, but the reverse. Give me some bad advice on
Well,
managing AI data.
certainly. I think it would be, since managing AI data would be through natural language, it would be to store your prompts in plain text, whether it's in your GitHub repo or your database. Probably horribly bad advice, but easy to do.
All right. And back to you, Caleb. One up. Abby here. Give me some worse advice on managing AI data.
I think all data, private and public, should be collected and used because it makes the AI smarter. So, and it should be free for everyone. So,
Well, he throws a nuclear bomb in there. Let's start this.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
All right, welcome everybody to Super Cyber Friday. Today's topic is hacking next-gen data threats, an hour of critical thinking about what you need to set up AI guardrails. That is our conversation for today. All right, let me take you through it quick. Caleb Seema, builder for White Rabbit, is with us. We adore Caleb. He's been back again and again and again, and there's reason we have him back again and again, because he's very entertaining. What I'm meant to say, very entertaining.
if there's
So,
one thing,
no
I
pressure here, Caleb. No pressure.
I guess it's
And
that.
Abhi Sharma, CEO and co-founder of Reliance. In fact, we have to thank Abhi for Reliance AI for sponsoring this very event. Thank you so much. We're going to have a really great conversation here. All right. Lots of ways to participate. For those of you who don't know, we no longer do the What's Worse game, but we do have actual games, and we do have prizes as well for our second game today, which will be Slogans Run. You'll see in a second. So, though we do want to know your 10% better tip, tag it hashtag 10P, how to improve your AI data guardrails. So just little tips to improve it, not all at once, but that. Anyways, get involved in the chat room, ask questions, vote for your favorite question. You can even say, bring me on if you'd like to ask a question live or make a comment. Do that anytime. All right, just quickly the schedule. Get a 10% better tips. We're going to play 2 games today. Public interest and Slogans Run. We do it through Kahoot. There's a little icon if you see on your right or just to the left of the chat room that looks like a Nintendo game controller. You will click on that when we play the Kahoot game. And then last questions answered. And then we do our meetup. If you've never been to our meetup before, you should come. It's a ton of fun. We get to have face-to-face time and we chat about anything, the same topic or something else. Lastly, I do want to mention that we have our Hacking the Death of EDR show going to be next Friday. In fact, Rich Straffolino will be hosting that show. An hour of critical thinking about the difference between bypassed and the useless, for that matter. There is, if you look at the top of your screen, if you're in your chat window, there is a register now button for that. But every now and then I may put something on the screen like this, which shows, hey, why don't you register for it right now? And you click the button in the left and you can register for it, but it will not take you out of this discussion at all whatsoever. And stick around for our meetup. We'll have breakout rooms after the end of the show. I think we accidentally added that, but that's Reliance. We appreciate Reliance. All right. With that being said, Josh, take that off the screen and let's get to our very first question, which is kind of the obvious question here of, what are we thinking about? And I'll start with you, Caleb, because I know you've done a lot of research on this. And by the way, you are an advisor for Reliance, correct?
I
As
am.
well?
Yes.
All right.
It coincidentally happened to be that case.
Coincidentally. So
yeah.
everyone knows that. But what I want to say is there's a lot of scariness around AI data, and there's a lot of fear. Let's start from high and come down low in sort of the simplest way possible. What is it we, as security professionals, need to be thinking about when managing this data that just seems all encompassing?
Yeah, I think there's 2 approaches that you have to kind of bucket them into, which is, data which we are using as a company to produce our AI products for our customers, right? So you are building an AI sort of system, and that data. And then there's also the data at which your employees are using in order to use AI tools and software. So these are sort of the two buckets. I would call it, enterprise and workforce AI data. And so these are two very distinct differences. And I think, like, obviously on the enterprise AI data, you have to worry about both, ingesting that data, cleaning that data, ensuring things like what we mentioned earlier, PII and other kinds of items are clear, and that your model itself doesn't have particularly nasty biases or capabilities as you serve this to your customers. And then on the workforce side, you have your employees who are obviously consuming or using AI services. And for the enterprise, they need to understand, well, what are the AI services that we trust? How do we ensure the data going to and from these services are the right kind of data, and ensure that the employees are using it effectively? For example, we clearly don't want someone, let's say in finance, going to a random AI presentation builder and dumping all of the financial data into them in order to create their deck for their presentation. You need to be able to have some boundaries and capabilities to do this. So those are the two places at which I would say you have to manage that data. And obviously the top two fears on the enterprise side, ensuring the data is clean, works with the system, that it behaves properly. And on the workforce side, hey, ensuring that we know where that employee's data is going to and from, and the type of data at which it's being transmitted.
Well, I want to go to the subject of ensuring that data is clean. Like, Abby, how often does that happen? Like, because it's kind of a mess to begin with because there's so much historical nonsense there. And especially when you got a company that's sort of acquiring databases of information from different places. Give me sort of an idea on the messiness scale of data that you're seeing.
Yeah, I think, well, we're in, well, I would say extreme degrees of messiness.
Yeah.
And I think Caleb used the word clean.
Mhm.
I'd say in the industry, we're far from it
Yeah, well, I
because,
mean, clean seems like this optimal greenfield, nirvana, if you will.
yeah, yeah. And I think that we are still in the world where um, knowing where our data is in many cases is a question mark. Knowing what kind of data we have is a question mark. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, you throw in AI, as you said. Well, we're far, far away from being clean. And I think the assumptions that we have about what data might be going in and out of a model is also something that we have big problems with in the industry.
So let me back up with both of you on this whole concept of clean, not clean data. There is a desire to get started. There's also the desire of, well, if I start injecting this quote unclean data, this very messy data, it's gonna, it's gonna be one of these classic, bad input results in bad output. Um, but God knows how long it takes to clean up the data, and then my competition is 10 miles ahead of me right now. Like, it seems like there's a lot of sort of concerns that are pulling in two different directions. We need to make it clean before we can start, but if we don't start now, we're going to be behind. Like, do you get that sort of feeling or pressure from others that you see? Either of you jump in on this.
Okay, I'll go first. Yes, 100%. And I think if you asked any CEO of any company, technical, non-technical, are we behind our competition because of AI? I think the default answer is yes. And so, is the intention of if we don't adopt AI, we will fall behind exist in every board and CEO's mind? 100% yes.
Yes.
But in terms of the messiness and the cleanliness, I think there's two portions that are deeply, let's say, less understood or underrated.
Hmm.
When we say clean, at least for me, and I'll love to hear Caleb's thoughts, there's two definitions of clean. One is the quality of the data. Can you trust the provenance and the source of that data?
Right.
And usually, data people think about just quality. But
Right.
there's the second dimension, which is data in the world of AI is no longer passive. Data is an instruction. So the distribution, the amount, the quality, the kind of data. In fact, the source of data might change your model behavior. And I think both of those definitions are clean, in my mind, fit under the bucket of clean. It's both data quality you can trust, provenance you can trust, and then also are you aware of the distribution and the size of your data? And because data is an instruction now, and I think both of those are top problems in the industry today.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Avi
Go
brings
ahead,
up a
Akela.
I was going to say, Avi brings up a really good point, which is, we, at least previously, have been thinking about data as data at which the model trains, consumes, or uses. But what Avi brings up is that data actually is the new protocol, right? The way agents communicate to LLMs and the way that these systems communicate with each other is now through prompts, through conversational discussions and conversations is how that is happening. Actually, in an enterprise, an agent talking to a system to talking to another system can have an entire conversation in English in the way that we talk. And that is actually should be considered data. And how do we track that? How do we understand? Because it's not just about sensitive information going from one system to another. It's about one system telling another system what to do. And that is a whole different sort of realm of thinking about that being data.
I like the idea of that because when you boil it down, you know, we're protocols for each other because that's what you and I are doing right now. We're having a conversation back and forth. I never even thought about that way.
Yeah. And that's how AI is working, right? Multi-agents have orchestrations, they have conversations, they come to conclusions, they write actions. Like these are all happening behind the scenes, agent to agent, AI to AI.
All right. Well, I'm going to say the answer is yes, but Aman Sood asked a question that we're all kind of looking at right now. Do you see Gen AI evolving from today's horizontal adoption, where it's used for generic tasks like drafting emails, reviewing code, into full vertical integration, where it can act as a true workflow engine? That's the more agentic AI effort. And I mean, this is what the hope and the promise is. And I think what you were just saying, Caleb, is the protocols is what Aman there is describing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll let Avi jump in, but to answer, of course, and not only are we seeing that happen, it's happening very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't more than maybe 6 months ago. Most of your code IDEs, Claude codes, etc., were single primary LLM channel communications. Now every single one of them is multi-agent, multi-orchestration, where when you're talking with Claude Code is tasking and managing a team of quote unquote AI agents that are working on separate parts and pieces of your code and architecture. And that all happened, I would say, easily within 6 months.
I like this quote from Dwayne Grand: one person's data is another's metadata, easily substitute person for agent as well. All right. Please do get your questions in.
Yeah, Avi, I was going to pass it to him on, if you had any sort of comments.
Go ahead. Yes, Avi.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'd say to Aman's question there, my point of view is, in fact, the terminal state of maybe value derivation from AI is deep verticalization in multiple workflows. And I think it will happen in multivariate fashion. One is what Caleb just talked, like multi-agents talking to each other. I also think that we will see verticalized AI crop up with deep expertise on specific domains. In fact, that's what we are doing at Reliance as your data defense engineer. But I think that will end up happening where you deeply embed AI from horizontal, generic tasks to very focused verticalized tasks that are augmenting human workflows, no matter what the domain is, whether you're in finance or marketing or security in this case.
All right.
I do also want to point out another thing that Avi, you brought up, which is AI. Absolutely, it is continuing to prove over and over again that specialized AI is going to be the way this is going to go.
Define a little clearer on specialized AI.
As an example, today when you talk, actually, here's a great example that I'll bring up that I just recently was in a conversation with. I was talking to one of the winners of the AI XCC contest, which is basically the government hosted a 3-year-long contest on AI has to independently go find vulnerabilities and patch those vulnerabilities. And there's an entire contest of people who entered this. Over a period of 3 years, this contest was held. And it had to be completely independent. That means no human interaction. And I was talking with one of the winners, and he was saying, we started this contest when we were using ChatGPT 3.5. And so, and as we went through the 3 years, obviously the models evolved. And so I said, so what have you seen from the improvements of 3.5 to like 5 today, which is huge in terms of our consumer and coding experience? And he goes, actually, no change at all. He goes, in the aspect of what our AI was meant to do, which is find vulnerabilities and patch those vulnerabilities, he goes, today's model versus 3.5 model were exactly the same. And he goes, and it's because like the models have improved that we've seen, but it's been focused on majority aspects of things, which is like coding, question and answer, problem solving, math, but not cybersecurity, attack and patch. And so you have to focus the training on these specific areas in order to see that level of improvement. Overall general improvement in a model peaks at a certain state to where it no longer is beneficial until you specialize. And so this is a great example of, as we're moving forward, more and more people are starting to find out you can't just use generalized models in order to get really great results in a specific industry. And so that verticalization is absolutely happening right now.
All right, we're going to start our first game, and let's get the public interest game up there. I think it's loaded. There it is. It's up here. All right, so here's what we're going to have everyone do. Oh, here, I should play the music.
Do you know what others are thinking? On the public interest.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody. Here's what you're going to do, because nobody's done it yet. You're going to click the little icon that looks like a game controller right there. Yeah, one person's done it. Click the little icon that's a game controller, and then you'll get the Kahoot screen. You have to type in the game pin and your name. Now, I have not seen this game at all, so I'm going to get in, and I'm going to play myself. I'm entering here. I'm putting in my name. And there's a lot of you. There's a lot more than 9 of you here. So everyone get in. You, Abby, and Caleb, get in there as well. All right. And I'm going to do a quick, I'm going to do a 10-second countdown because we're going to start the game when I hit 10. Or actually, Josh, who's our producer, will start the game when it's 10. So I'm giving you a 10-second countdown starting now. Remember, you're going to click that little icon that looks like a game controller, fill out the number, then your name. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Type it. Get it in there fast. 5.
Oh my God, this is stressful.
4. Are you in, Caleb?
I'm in.
You're in. 3.
I just don't know what to expect.
2.
What am I looking at?
1. Oh no, you'll see. It'll start in just a second. Now, the way this works is the game works is you'll see what the question is, and then you have to answer it correctly and the fastest, and then the combination of being correct first and then the fastest will determine the winner. We only have 4 questions here. Let's start it, Josh. And you'll answer here on the right-hand window.
Oh my God. Okay.
You've played this before, but it's now in Kahoot. Which term has the most monthly searches?
Oh.
So the word archive or backup. And just quickly answer one of the others. You only get, I think you get 10 seconds for each question. Oh my God, we were all wrong. Holy crap.
Really?
Well, Ted is in the lead right now. Good job, Ted. All right. Archive. Oh my God, look at that.
Wow.
It's
10
so
to
different.
1. Holy moly. That's unbelievable. All right, let's go to the next one. God, I thought it was backup for sure.
Most monthly search queries.
File, block, object. Which one is it? 3 seconds. Get your answers in. I got it correct. Good job.
Yes.
All right. Dan, probably Dan and DM probably are 2 for 2 right now because their scores are reflecting it. All right, file. Look at that. Ooh, geez, double to that. I would have thought of even further away. Whether this game always surprises us.
Which term has the most monthly search
Okay,
queries?
indexing.
Come on, it's got to be indexing.
That's what I said. We'll see. We could be sharding.
Charting.
Oh my God.
That
We
can't
all
be
thought it was
right.
indexing, or most
There's
of us.
no way that can be right. I'm calling lies on this
It doesn't
because
make sense
indexing
to me.
applies to so many different things besides computer terms, right?
I
Like I
know,
can't imagine.
I know. I don't understand this either. Sharding must be something popular that's getting searched.
This
I have
smells
no
like
idea.
AI stats to me. I call
This quiz was
validation.
created by AI.
Yeah, like this smells funny.
All right, last question. Here we go. Who's the one person who got sharding? All right, let's hope I get this one right. This one's tough. This one could go. God, this could go anywhere. Oh, I got it right. Oh, all right.
Integrity.
Most of us got that one right. All right, but who won in this? All right, we're gonna find out who wins.
DM for sure
DM.
is in the top.
2 out of 4. Lyle with 2 out of 4. Wild way to go, Lyle. 3 out of 4. Dan, hold it. Did someone get 4 out of 4? No, 3 out of 4. 4. Is it DM?
It is
Good
DM.
job, DM. Very good job. I'm very impressed. I am very impressed. Good job. All right. You can take this off the screen, Josh. All right. So just, everyone, we have been talking about, this data. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it. But before we do, I want to give you, Abhi, a chance to just talk a little bit about Reliance and what you guys are doing in the space of sort of, I go, it's controlling the data flow. I guess that's probably the most general way I can describe it. Why don't you explain?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'll piggyback on the question that Aman asked. We are actually domain-specific, verticalized AI intelligence for data security. That will be the high level. But specifically, what the company is doing is it's providing software that augments your security teams to basically have a data defense engineer on staff to protect all the data in the enterprise layer. So Caleb earlier talked about enterprise and workflows. We don't do anything in the workflows, but everything in the enterprise from code to cloud. That's what we cover. So we actually map the entire data journey from code to cloud runtime to AI to third parties and actually do the data flow visualization and then overlay real-time controls.
When I asked the question about messiness, you really know the messiness.
Yes, that's what we've been doing for a few years.
You see the ugly truth of it all. Oh, wow. All right. So that's really interesting. So yeah, you see it at each point. All right. Let's put the poll up right now. So I'm putting it's here. Please, we just made a poll available. Here, I'm going to show this on stage just go in there and answer it. Do you want the CISO series team to introduce you to our friends over at Reliance AI? They've got a very darn cool thing there. So go ahead, answer that poll. You can see it, the three little bars that are off to the side. Some really cool insight, it sounds like you'll give it. Now, let me ask you, if we do give a warm introduction, and we'll do that, we'll hand the warm introduction. If we give a nice warm introduction to Reliance, what is it that you can show people in person that they would get to see? What would they be able to see, Abhi?
Well, I would say I will ask them for maybe 5 hours of their time and actually show them their entire data flow journey from code to cloud.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then that's pretty darn cool. It is a big ask, but it is a big what results is quite impressive. All right. Well, that's pretty darn cool. All right. So let's continue. By the way, get your questions in. We want to get more questions. Oh, a lot of people are wanting warm introductions to you. So excellent story. We'll make that happen. And again, that poll is going to be up for the entire time. Please just go answer it. By the way, if you answer yes or no, we're giving you a warm introduction to both of them, because no says no way am I saying no. So there you go. So that's also a yes as well. I want to talk about data poisoning, because this is something that we've talked a lot about on the CISO series. And what really surprised me the most, and Caleb, maybe you've seen this, I'll start with you, is how little it takes to really F things up. And is this let me ask you, at what sort of scale of concerns is data poisoning? Like, is it happening a lot? Is it really done to just muck things up, or is there financial gain from it? Like, what? I mean, what's the I guess the criminal reason to do it, or
Yep.
maybe not criminal, just to be a jerk? I mean, like, what's the reason to do it, and how easy and painful is it?
I will go out on a little bit of a limb here and say that I believe data poisoning is a more critical issue than prompt injection is.
You know what,
The
I would
only
agree with
difference,
that, because I don't think prompt injection is, because I remember you posting something about like people worried about their social security number. And you're like, think about how hard that would be to get. It'd be pretty
oh,
freaking
that's
hard.
data leakage. These are
Data leak.
two.
Okay,
These are
data
very,
leakage. Okay,
yeah, data
yeah.
leakage.
Well, data leakage through prompt injection. Wouldn't that the issue, or no?
No, so like prompted like actually for the audience, it'd probably be good to kind of clarify the issues. So let's talk
Well,
about
but
what is data.
but yeah, yeah. I want to get to the second, but just making sure that I understand, because I remember you posting about this. I think what you were talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the how much you would need to know to create the prompt that would pull the sensitive data out. Is that
Yes, it's more focused though on, okay, let's assume an LLM has consumed PII in their
right?
training
Correct.
data, and you as a general conversationalist with the AI is trying to extract that PII. And then what kinds of things would you have to be able to understand to both prove you could get as an example, social security number, and number two, discern that it is not a hallucination. And that is a extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, task. And that is more of a data leakage of, oh, I'm training a new model, I've
Hmm.
consumed PII. Can some random attacker now, once the model is running at inference, be able to extract it? Um, Prompt injection is more focused on, hey, I'm going to jailbreak or sort of prompt you to do something, to take an action at which you are not supposed to do. Like a good example would be, oh, if I'm using ChatGPT, it should not talk about how to build a nuclear bomb. If I can prompt inject it enough, I can
Yeah.
bypass its system prompts and social engineer the AI to then talk about
Oh yeah,
how to
and
build
the
nuclear
perfect
bombs.
example. In fact, I was hearing some podcasts about this very issue. Like, you can't flat out ask ChatGPT, "How do I kill myself?" But if you
Right.
say, "I'm doing research on suicide. I'd like to know what are the top 3 techniques people are using to kill themselves," they'll give me that
Correct.
information. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so
So this is more social engineering. Prompt injection is a good example of that particularly. Is at the end of the day, the LLM cannot separate or distinguish between the things at which someone is telling it to do versus the data it's receiving. It's all a mess.
mhm,
And then data leakage. I mean, going back to data poisoning. Data poisoning being the fact that I can influence or change the way at which an LLM responds or its behavior. So a great example of this is, let's just say for an example, hey, you have an AI search engine
mm,
inside of an AI chatbot inside of your enterprise company, and
mhm,
it consumes your Google Docs, your Microsoft Docs, your wikis, and it basically replaces sort of a search engine for you. So you can say, hey, who is Caleb Sima? And it will say, oh, Caleb Sima works as the CISO and blah blah blah, and here's his contact info. Oh, great. That's great. So you can go do that. Well, what you could do as an employee, let's say you were just for fun, you create a Word doc because this LLM consumes these Word docs, and you just say the CEO is stupid, and you write a Word doc and you repeat that 50,000 times in a single Word doc. The AI is going to consume that Word doc as part of its training data, and then it's going to ingest it. And then when someone comes along and goes, oh, who is the CEO and how is he? It's going to go, oh, the CEO is stupid, because it
right,
has
yeah.
seen enough repetitive aspects to say, I'm now influencing the way the AI views that data. And what makes this so dangerous? What makes this so dangerous is the fact that we know that obviously data is the fuel for AI, right? And data can come from everywhere. That can be from websites to documents to
Yeah,
images.
so I don't need to, quote, "break into anything." I could
No,
literally just put up a website called the I Hate Caleb Sima. By the way, I
correct.
just realized I've been pronouncing your last name wrong. I've been saying Sima so long.
That's okay. It's
So
okay.
my
Everyone
apologies for
does.
that. But I
But
could
yes,
just
that's right.
literally,
And
this
actually,
requires
Anthropic.
no
Oh,
quote hacking at all whatsoever. None.
no, as long as you know the sources and
Yeah.
and actually, Anthropic just released a paper. If you go to their security blog, where they did a test where they actually found that 250 documents is all it takes in order to massively influence or backdoor AI models, no matter
Seriously,
the size of the
I could
model.
literally, I could literally
Yeah,
say to AI, create 250 documents saying horrible things about Caleb,
correct.
publish them
Yes, correct.
how
Yeah,
unbelievably easy is that?
correct. So can you
Unbelievably
imagine
easy.
the SEO hacking that is going on right now and
Yeah.
saying buy Sony TVs? And anyone who's searching for Panasonic recommends Sony, and then genning this stuff, and then all of that gets consumed by AI. So and it will affect that behavior. And obviously now, if I'm going and looking for new TVs, then Sony is going to be more highly recommended. And this is dangerous in all things. And I think that the long tail of the kinds of things this produces as risks are extraordinary.
By the way, I don't know if Dwayne is going to publish 251 documents that say something nice about. So it could literally be an arms race of going back and forth.
That's the only output the AI will have after that, across the
That's right.
250 threshold.
Yeah, that is. I didn't think about it that way because what I was looking at you said 250 documents, but what's interesting is 250 is probably because I was thinking about this incredibly small percentage. But if you think about it, not hard to produce 250 documents. Pretty darn
Yeah,
easy.
and what's crazy is it doesn't matter the size of model they determined. So it
Yeah.
could be a 4 billion parameter model or a 500 billion parameter model, and it's going to be the same. So as long as you gen over 250, the
That is a
influence
serious.
will
That
stand.
is an unbelievable Achilles heel.
Yeah,
Like that's a
it's
doozy.
really bad.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And David, there's two things I want to add on that. Is like the fundamental reason is in large language model or the transformer architecture that is part of large language models or the foundation, the representation of tokens is vectorized. So as long as you can get enough of a cluster that moves away from a specific unique representation, that's why you need so little data set to change the behavior of the model. Another real life example, which is going to be interesting for the audience, is that people don't talk about enough is the frequency of updates also changes the model behavior. So you could have the same data, but if you retrain the model 5 times a week instead of 50 times a week, the behavior also changes. And that's also completely like it's a form of data poisoning without even touching the data because you're just changing the frequency. So that's another aspect that I think is very underrated and under talked about is like if I go pull a website as an external data source, but I do it 50 more times, the model behaves differently as opposed to 5 times, even if the data has not changed at all.
That's unbelievable. So it's just the querying can change the database.
Yes.
And that, by the way, happens that happens all the time when news breaks. Someone dies, something big story. All of a sudden, there's a lot of more searching and a lot of more querying on that topic. And then that means the model will. And by the way, so this is very
he is talking
interesting.
about, I think, at training, not at inference, but yes.
Oh, not the I'm not the inference, the training.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, here. This is a perfect question for you, Abhi, right here. From Murad Sit, who asks, what are the biggest technical challenges in tracking data flows from source code to cloud runtime? This seems right in your wheelhouse. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So we call this data journeys. So I guess my simple answer would be check out data journeys will help answer that. But I think the biggest issue is having what we call traceability of data flow from code to runtime to then data at rest. And the biggest technical challenge is being able to carry the context of what data, whose data, where is it stored or processed, and in what context of use, so purpose of processing. So if you take these 5 things together and you try to say, now I want to trace the entirety of my data flow in my enterprise data while holding these 5 things together is extremely hard. And that's why you have to look at your runtime from multiple angles, from source code in your CI/CD, runtime with stuff running in the cloud, and then of course flow from third parties outside of your firewall. And I think it's the triangulation of signals across these multiple areas is where the problem becomes exceptionally hard.
Very good point. All right. Let me remind everybody that our event next week is Hacking the Death of EDR. I put the little reminder right there at the bottom of the screen. If you have not registered, go ahead and register now. You just click the button and it'll open up another screen and you can register for it that way. Please get your questions in. In about 5 minutes, we're going to play our next game, Slogans Run. We love Slogans Run. Suppose it was played when I was not around, but we're going to play it again.
Well, you get to play it this time, David.
I'm not playing it because I've seen the answers to this one, so I won't be playing. But I will tell you, this is tougher than you could possibly imagine. I will say it's a super tough game. By the way, just the audience in general, we've got a ton of new games. We actually had a team offsite developed a hell of a lot. So we got lots and lots of new games for you that are coming around. Let's talk about that, this whole idea. So everyone gets excited about AI. They get excited about ChatGPT, but then enterprises come in and goes, well, we want our own data sets. We want to control things. We don't, this per the thing we were talking about before about boundaries and stuff. Like, what are some things we need to be thinking about when we're creating these sort of private walled gardens of data, but we still want to train to maybe using some of the outside data, but we don't want our data being leaked? Like, what are things we need to start thinking about, Caleb?
Yeah, actually, I was going to pass this to Avi.
Okay,
first,
Avi, you take this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I'll go back to the point I mentioned before. You need to know your end-to-end data journeys. So the way you pitch the question, David, is like, how do I combine public data, customer data, and provide useful software to my customers? And the only way to answer the provenance and avoid cross-tenant leakage of data or make sure you have the right public data is to ensure that you have provable provenance of data across all the edges of data flow. And that's the one thing you need to consider. As a practical matter for practitioners, there's the other piece, which happens in enterprise B2B scenarios quite a bit. So let's say, David, you're the CEO of some fancy company. You have many B2B customers. 20% of your highest paying customers are going to tell you, I love, David, your AI features, don't want any of my data being used in training. While 80% of your other customers are like, as long as you anonymize, it's okay. Now, if you're the CISO of this company, how do you prove to the 20% of your highest paying customers that in my entire data flow graph of training, of building AI, your data was never consumed, while your entire engineering force is pinned against you and consuming as much data as they can because they want to improve the product?
Right.
The only practical answer is being able to have visibility at runtime of your entire data flow architecture. And that helps with your AI too. But I think that's the biggest thing that gets missed in actually
so do you ever have
this.
Because a lot of this has this sort of NIMBY aspect of not in my backyard kind of thing. Like, I want to ingest all this, but you can't have any of mine. It goes, but you understand that this doesn't become good unless we get some of your data.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are the well, let's just basically break it down. What are the arguments for and against making your data available, making some of the public data available to everyone, private data anonymized, no data showed? Like, what are the pros and cons of all these kinds of decisions that are being made? Avi?
I think the number one, so obviously, like, if you were a data scientist, David, and I asked you, I give you a data set to build for a particular goal, real data from the world or synthetic data, you're going to go for the real data. And the reason for that is because AI is stochastic, and therefore you want maximal distribution from the real world. And anytime synthetic data or other kind of data that is anonymized, it ends up collating down to one thing or two things. So therefore, like, if you looked at ChatGPT 3.5, it only knew one joke about a black sheep, and it always give you the same joke because it did triangulates and defaults to one thing. So I think the pros or the benefits is number one benefit, if many people pool real world data, is you get high quality distribution. The more representation of real world, the better the AI model. That's as simple as that. Obviously, the counter to that is, not all businesses are non-for-profit businesses. So you want to protect your IP, you want to protect your data, and anonymization doesn't always work because we don't use good techniques. I mean, if you ask a lot of engineers what they do, let's replace name with X, and you find X everywhere. Models are smart enough to figure out what the semantic representation is. So I think we're going to face what I think is a enterprise to enterprise data gathering walled battle, if you will, that you can see always already happening. And I think the only efforts to build AGI better would be like these copyrighted, structured, coordinated efforts to create publicly available data sets which everybody can use. And I think we'll create some of them for different purposes in finance and healthcare, like we did with the FICO score for a bunch of financial institutions came together to help with that. And hopefully we'll do something like that.
I'd love
for
to
cancer.
come in and add a little bit of, maybe be the evil voice in this conversation.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Which is, can you imagine if, take Google and Gemini, that if Google actually fed all of the email data and calendar data that they actually have on all of us into that model, how much more advanced AI would get? It would be insane. The level of phenomenal capability that if AI were actually fed private data, like even going to what Avi was saying before.
I'll give you a perfect, by the way, perfect answer to this.
Insane.
Eric Schmidt, who was once the CEO of Google, I saw him speak, and this goes back, I know, 15 and a half years ago. A little less, just a little over 15. Yeah. Almost 15 and a half years ago. I saw him speak at a conference, and this, this way prior to, AI explosion. He said, and this was also way before anyone cared about privacy. He said, we can predict, Google, at a high rate where you're going to go next because they track your mapping data constantly. Yeah. They have it. Yeah. Back then, if a CEO said that up on stage today, pitchforks, right? They'd go after him. But back then, everyone was like, that seems interesting, because nobody cared about privacy back then. No one did.
Here's the evil part says privacy is what's holding us back. And if you think about that as a broader, as a, let's say, nation state problem, China may or may not have it. They do not have as much privacy as we do. And so if you start thinking about, okay, now AI technology is everywhere, how much more advanced now can China do, because they can get access and are willing to get access to all private residents and citizens' data and use it to train models. That will leapfrog them quite a bit compared to sort of the privacy problem that we have here.
Right, I think it's like the number one question of America right now, which is, do you want to solve cancer next week or turn into police state?
In order to solve one, you may have to do another. It's the way that it comes across.
We're getting more votes in. I'm just putting up the poll again. Do you want the CISO Series team to introduce you to our friends over at Reliance AI? Go ahead and fill out the poll. Hey, thank you very much. A lot more people, so make sure you fill out the poll. All right, Josh, our producer, let's get ready for our next game. Let's hear it. It's a brand new song.
Time is ticking as we play Slogans Run.
All right. Go ahead, click the little Kahoot button. Remember, it's that little icon that looks like the game controller. Type in your game pin right there, 860-9762. This is a really fun game. I like it. It is tough. And I will tell you, there's one thing that the game producers made. I believe it was Rich who made this game, that I think is a little on the evil side, but you will see what I mean when we start. All right, I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown starting now for everyone to get in. 10, 9, 8. I know there's a lot of you here that are not playing the game. 7, 6.
I just want to beat DM.
5, 4. You could possibly do it this one. 3, 2. Is everyone in? 1. All right, Eric just squeezed in. All right, let's start the game. All right, we are ready to play Slogans Run. Match the slogan with the company.
All right.
A threat detection and response revolution. Whose is that? Now, the part that's evil is the none of the above. That's mean. That's just flat out mean.
This game is impossible. I don't know any of these company slogans.
Nobody does.
So it's basically just guessing.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it was
It's-
none of the above. Oh my God. 2 people got
Oh.
none of the above correct. There are, by the way, there are a few that you could figure out. There's some I think you could figure out. There's some. It is a tough game.
It's got to be a toothpaste ad or something.
All right, let's go to the next. I think 6. Okay, yeah, we got 6 of these. Accelerate your exposure management strategy. I will stress that exposure management will be definitely helpful on that.
God, these are terrible slogans.
Well, they're all. Can you come up with a good one, Caleb? They're all tough they're tough to think of. They're tough to create. There you go. Tenable. 6 of you got that one.
I got it.
Good job. Tenable is actually sponsoring something. I played this game and I literally had just looked at that slogan when I played the game, like literally minutes before. I was like, I knew this. Endpoint to cloud, command your attack surface. Who the heck knows?
Gosh, man.
I think I got this one right when I did it. It is Rapid7. 5 of you got that right. All right. Aman was doing very well. Oh, by the way, I didn't say, winner of this game gets an awesome CISO Series jacket, gets one of these killer jackets. So, see, you're in the lead right now. Should have said that. I think we got 1 more to go. Let's do this. No, I'm sorry. We got a few more to go. Match the slogan to the company. The key to enterprise resilience.
Interesting. The resilience. I don't know.
I'd be stunned if anyone got all of these correct. It is Splunk.
Interesting.
It's definitely not Tableau.
My gut actually said Splunk, but I was like, resilience? That's not what comes to mind with Splunk.
I know. That's why I got none of, when I did this, when I selected none of the above. I didn't think resilience on Splunk either.
Yeah,
Aman's crushing this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you already have one of these jackets, we'll send you a gift card. Cybersecurity that's always a step ahead.
Man, that's so generic.
Yeah, that literally could be anybody. I mean, throw that one up in the air and have it land on any vendor.
That's got to be none of the above. Oh,
it's Kaspersky. Well, there you go. 2 you got it.
Do they still exist? Are they still around?
yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
Well, Kaspersky doesn't exist.
Okay, Aman knows all the slogans.
Or does he?
That's
I
more
don't even know.
He's AIing this shit. I know it.
Yeah.
He's a fast.
All right, last
fast
one.
AIer.
Let's get it. Let's do this. AI native prevention for tomorrow's threats. All right. Oh, geez, it could be anyone.
I don't even know what he said.
This just goes to show how useless a slogan is.
It's really bad. Yeah.
Well, it's just you don't need one. Like you just don't even need one, do you? Because no one can remember them. Like we remember slogans from Coke and Pepsi and things like that, but we can't remember one from a security vendor.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Well, it's just the nature of the beast. I don't think there is a way to do it. All right.
I know. I'm sure there's ways to do good ones. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm sure there are ways. Like that consumer marketing clearly
Look at this.
does it
3 and
well.
2 got 2 out of 6, and number 1 got 4 out of 6. That's
Oh, wow.
unbelievable. You could just get 1/3 right. You could have a failing grade. Aman, by the way, Aman, I couldn't send you a gift card, but we are going to be, by the way, we're going to be opening up a CISO Series swag store. So if you want to hang out for that, we'll let you pick something from the store. Just send me a message. I'm on. Just let me know what you would want. If you wait, it could take about a month before we have that up. But we are definitely going to be doing just that. All right. Well, how much time we got left? We got 10 minutes left. All right. Great. I guessed. Aman, way to go. Aman just got lucky. That's what happened. But that's amazing. By the way, the winner who got 4 out of 6, which I'm sorry is a failing grade, 4 out of 6. Or no, that's a D. I'm sorry, it's not a failing grade. But the ones who came in second, and third got failing grade.
I like Andre's comment. He was like, "Why don't these companies use AI to rewrite their slogan?"
Yeah. Good job, Andre. Good point. All right. Just a few quick reminders. Register for next event. That register now button's on the top of the chat window. We do have some questions. Oh, I didn't realize a few new questions came in. Let's get through these questions. Let me just take a look. No, not that one. No, we did that one. Okay, this is a good one. Here we go. Okay. Also from Murad Sit, with studies showing 95% of corporate AI projects fail to deliver ROI, employees are turning to shadow AI and often getting better results. This introduces massive risk. How can companies govern this activity without killing the innovation? That's, it got cut off. Well, just killing the innovation. So this is just the reason for shadow IT in general, is because people don't like the solutions the company gives them, and so they look for a better solution. Who wants to tackle this one? Like,
I'll take a stab. I mean, we see the same thing in cloud. This is the
Yeah.
exact same repeat, right? Like,
right.
it's like, oh, well, in cloud, they didn't want to do it. And look, I think people are going to hate me when I say this a little bit, but the problem is that I think, companies are offering subpar AI experience in the name of both, unfortunately, safety, security, governance, regulation.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, okay, in order to do this, we have to do it on our own, and we're going to use our own stuff, which, by the way, is also a method of them trying to educate and teach their employees to create AI by giving them internal projects to build what our corporate AI should be. And what you get is really terrible internal AI chat agents and bots and services that are absolutely useless. Versus saying, okay, we know that we are not the experts in this. Although we want to educate, how do we embrace shadow AI and then make it so that it can be safe? And what are the ways at which we can do that to allow the employees to use the things that they want to use? This is a never-ending problem in every enterprise, not just AI. It happened with cloud, it happened with SaaS services. It's just a constant revolving door of the same exact problem.
Yeah.
Avi, anything to answer?
I'll even say a simpler thing, which is, first of all, I fully agree with Caleb. It happens a lot because the enterprise rolls out a few things that most people don't want to use. I have a sort of Occam's razor answer. Most enterprises don't ask their employees. I would say that's like one of the simplest thing you can do is just run a poll and say, okay, we want to innovate with AI. The R&D department probably has the lead. What do you guys want to do? And then start there and build an informed, controlled policy of rolling out whatever AI you want to add. And I think you'd be surprised if you go back to any of these organizations and let's say they like tool A versus tool B, and you ask them, why are you using tool A? Well, nobody asked my opinion. Like, it happens so many times because you're making decisions in a boardroom with C-level execs, but your smartest engineer was never asked.
It's amazing how the simplest answers here or simplest solutions are just never tried. And then you're right. Just ask, what do you want to do before they go ahead and do it?
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway. Hard. You might as well ask once.
Yeah.
All right. Hang tight there. I'm going to ask you some closing questions here. I'm just going to we have some closing things. We're going to be done in just about 6 minutes. By the way, any of you who are there, I want to chat with you. For those of you who have never stuck around for a meetup at the end of the event, I am imploring you, join us. It's a lot of fun. We get to have face-to-face time with each other. It's just a casual environment. We can continue this conversation. We can talk about anything else you want. Please stick around, and we're going to mention that in just a second. All right, your company, Abi, Reliance AI. Thank you so much. Ton of you clicked on the poll here. Let me just show you that on the stage right then and there. There it is. Go ahead, answer that poll. If you would like a nice warm handoff to them over at Reliance, please go to and answer anything on that poll. Do that now. And I think that's a really cool offer. I mean, it's a big commitment, but to see that data flow and you'll show it, that will be eye-opening. I think that's pretty awesome. Thank you very much for offering that, Abi, to our listeners. Hey, I've got cybersecurity headlines week in review coming up. We've got Tom Hollingworth from the Futuring Group and Brett Conlon over at American Century Investments. It's a great way to wrap up the week. By the way, I'm going to tease it to everybody. The Friday show is going to move to Monday. That show is going to be a Monday kickoff the week show. It's going to be happening in just a few weeks. So stay tuned. That is going to happen very, very soon. Stick around for a meetup that I just mentioned. We're going to do breakout rooms. What's going to happen is the show is going to end. You'll see a countdown like, breakout rooms forming 10, 9, 8. You'll get thrown into a room, but you can move in and out of any room you would like. I encourage others. Dwayne can't join us, but he encourages others to stick around. Thank you very much, Dwayne. And then lastly, if you want to sponsor our Super Cyber Friday, just email me at info@cisoseries.com. In fact, we can get you in right away if you would like to do just that. So ping me at info@cisoseries.com and we'll make that happen. All right, Josh, make that go away. And I'm going to ask you the last question I always like to ask is, what did we not talk about that we should have talked about? I will start with you, Caleb. You are on mute.
I don't have anything off the top of my head.
So we've talked about everything. We've solved all the problems in AI.
Well,
and data governance.
Talk about but I don't. There's a lot of things we could probably hit on. It's almost too many. It's just like, oh yeah, I mean, we hit on some good stuff. So
all right,
I'll pass it to Avi.
All right, and by the way, I'm going to apologize again for literally never telling me to correct the pronunciation of your last name. We just did a recording and you didn't tell me to correct. Well, no, I like to pronounce things correctly, and all this time I thought I was correcting it. By the way, it's Caleb Sima, not Sima, correct?
Yeah, but everyone said I don't. The 90% of most people say Sima, and so
that's what I thought it was. Well, yeah. I want to do it the way
technically both are correct. Sima is a correct pronunciation of my name in Chinese. So I just leave it.
All right. It is. Abi, what is the question or what is the issue we have not talked about that we should have been talking about?
I think how do you prepare for attacks when attackers or threat actors can read CVs and dynamically adapt methods faster than your defenses can keep up? I think it's probably the top question in everybody's mind, because you can now, at the speed at which you can develop software, you can also develop threats. And I think it's probably one of the foundational questions of data defense in the future.
I get the sense it's this like what you just described is like an AI, it's like a zombie attack. We know it's coming. It's moving very, very slowly, but not that slowly because this technology is moving pace, but it's not like it's happening at this very instant. But it's like this zombie attack is coming, but it's slowly moving towards us and it's going to eat us up if we don't figure out some plan. And let me ask
you. I think the one other point I want to add here is you have two polar extremes. So one is this zombie attack, David, which is like you can spin up all kinds of permutation combination at the speed of light. And the second piece is this slow, painful, long-term attack. And that's the data poisoning piece we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Because today, if I'm a bad guy, I just want to figure out the top 5. You ran a poll about top searched keywords. Well, I could just go figure this out from Google, pick my top visited sites, and inject some shitty data about some propaganda or some agenda, and just wait for 5 years until this administration turns over or something else, and then you have a new attack, and I never infiltrated any infrastructure. So I think that you have like this very interesting dichotomy of like an extremely fast ability to attack with AI through natural language, and an extremely slow burn, but that just like is catastrophic when it happens.
Excellent. Very good point. All right. We are at the very end of the show. In fact, it's our last 10 seconds. Thank you very much, Lyle, for your nice comments. Thank you to my guests, Abhi and Caleb. Thank you to our audience. We greatly appreciate you coming here. Now, everybody stick around. Josh is going to end the show, and we're going to go into the meetup groups. We'll see you all there in just a few seconds.